big dude in person. I didn't realize he was such a big guy.
Yeah, he's a very big.
If somebody walked in here, they go, "Who's the UFC fighter?" A former fighter. They'd look at Neil.
Yeah.
Used to be a wrestler
in my day. Yeah, but that was a different day.
But undefeated in high school.
In high school, yeah, I was 10-0 my senior year.
Yeah, that's amazing.
You ever come close?
In fact,
to
people
losing?
got upset because one of the matches I didn't pin the guy, and they.
Oh yeah.
So they counted that as like a loss.
Yeah.
I pinned 9 out of the 10.
Well, were you bigger than everybody else by a long shot, or
No, they can't be because it's a weight class. It's a weight class. So I was 190 pounds.
So you were just a ferocious wrestler.
Well, I was really flexible. I had good strength. I was taller than almost anyone I wrestled, which meant they had bigger muscles. Yeah. Okay, because if they're the same weight and there's no body fat clearly, so they got to have bigger muscles if they're shorter than I am and weigh the same. So I had to keep them at distance. You know, I had good leverage. I have really long arms. I do an ankle pick, and I can cradle you, and get you and pin you. Because I can wrap my arms around whatever you are, I can wrap my arms around you, and that gives me a grip. But if I get too tight in, and you get these ectomorph guys with these muscles,
it's hard to make space. No pun intended. Oh, hard to make space.
Sorry. Where's the drum? Where's the band?
I know he's very bad with the sound cues.
That was a sound effect moment.
But it is true with the smaller grapplers. When they're tight on you, it's harder to make.
When they're
space.
tight, it's like a lock. It's like a Loctite, right? Because they'll get me in there. It's like, oh damn.
Have you? Because you're naturally a grappler. I mean, you're talking about your being undefeated in high school. And,
well, that was then. But wait, excuse me.
Go ahead.
Just to be clear,
sure. Okay? I'm not trying to get you a fight in mixed martial arts.
By the end, we're going to be. Where's the mat? Let's take this outside. No, just to be clear.
Yes.
When I got to college, then I started wrestling like guys from like Iowa and
you felt the difference
like
in
corn-fed guys off the farm that were hauling cows. And I said, "Whoa, this is another league. There's another thing going on here." So I had a losing record until my senior year
in Harvard
of college. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So I didn't even know. I guess Harvard has a wrestling team. You always think of Harvard as you don't think of them in doing any physical.
What do you think? They're mandy-pansy? What do you think?
No, just too busy. No, just too busy studying. I mean,
I also rode, but I preferred wrestling. And
you rode what?
I heavyweight eights.
Oh wait, R-O-W.
R-O-W.
Oh, I think it meant like R-O-D-E. Rowing, to me, I do it in the gym once. It sucks. I can row for 2 minutes. How long, if you're rowing, how long could you row for in a workout when you were in that shape and you were doing that?
Oh well, so it's highly aerobic. So if you get it, once you get in a rhythm, you do it for an hour. Typically, actual races take about 6 to 8 minutes, depending on 2,000 meters.
Is a Harvard rowing team good?
Yeah. Well, their coach for the longest time coached the Olympic team.
Oh, he did. Okay.
Yeah. Well, think about it. Rowing is like very sort of Ivy League-y,
Yeah.
And so you get the Ivy League coach to coach the Ivy Leaguers who went to prep school where they rowed. How many schools in the hood have a rowing team?
Right.
None, basically. So it was kind of an elitist sport in that regard. I don't mean that attitudinally. I just mean it in terms of access to opportunity.
And who had opportunities to try
exactly. So I did it because it was intriguing. Right. But since I wrestled in high school, I ultimately kept wrestling in college. And I much preferred it because if you lose, you lost. Yeah. You don't blame on anybody else. Yeah. And so what I was saying was, though I was taller, I was quicker than almost any of my opponents. I was quick for my size, so they didn't see that coming.
Athletic,
right.
Did you have any fights growing up?
Great question.
Yeah,
I have completely calm temperament, so no, I'm the only guy I know who never got into any fights, K through 12.
Wow, but you got some aggression out though in high school. Like you were physically, you did.
So I asked myself, if I didn't wrestle as a tandem thing in my life, where would I just be looking to kick somebody's ass? No, but I had one guy pulled a knife on me.
For what? Where were you?
You mean, what did I do to earn it?
I was saying,
what the hell kind of quick? Where'd you get this guy?
What was his reasoning? We're going into the mind of the man. What was his reasoning?
What was his reasoning? Okay. It was, in fact, my fault. Here it is. It was one of these late winter snowfalls where the snow is heavy and wet and makes an awesome snowball. Yeah. Okay? Like a March snowfall.
Oh, no.
Yeah,
all right?
I see where this is going.
So at lunchtime, this big snowball fight breaks out. I'm on one side. It's no one chose sides. It just broke up that way. All right. If you're on the left, you're for that side, or you're on the right.
Yeah.
All right. Of the left side of the field. So he's standing there. Back then, he would have been known as a greaser. Okay.
Yeah.
His hair greased back, leather jacket, rode a motorcycle. Yeah. He was sitting against a car with his girlfriend under his arm.
Oh no.
Okay.
Right. Non-combatant. All right. So I said, wow, okay, let me throw a snow. I wonder if I can hit him. But he was a non-combatant. I threw it. Went far. It sailed through the sky. And it landed right on his chest. And you ever see a snowball hit a hard surface? It just scatters everywhere. And this must have seriously embarrassed him in front of his girlfriend. Plus, he's a greaser. So he's got that man thing he's got to withhold. So then out come the racial nigga, you come, nigga. And I said, don't you come back or I'll cut you. Okay, so.
How did he know he saw you throw?
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. And so the period ends and everyone's going back into class and he goes and parks himself in front of a door. And so I just slowly walk to a different door. But then he walks at a rate that will perfectly intersect mine.
How's your adrenaline? How are you assessing?
That's a good question. So I'm going to tell you. These are great questions. So now we meet at the door. And he pulls out his knife. I remember it's a 007, which has a locking blade and a wooden handle locking blade. It's about 6 inches long. Slightly illegal. There was an illegal length and an illegal length. This one just came a little, like the curved tip just was enough there. But it locks in place so that it doesn't fold back and cut your fingers. So he does it, and he's standing in front of me. I don't think he knew how big a person I was when he made these threats. Because I walked up to him, I looked down to him by 1 or 2 inches, and he was in boots. So that
might have been my height.
Back a little bit. Okay. So then I remember this scene, in West Side Story where the knife is reflecting the sunlight, before the fight begins. Yeah. So all I'm thinking is West Side Story. But anyhow, so he said, you hit my leather jacket. And so I said, okay, how much ego do I give a shit that I have at this? Oh, can I say that?
No, say it. Yeah. Celebrate it. Neil.
I'm being honest about what was going through my head.
Can,
right? This guy's got a knife, and he's what's that the right word?
Brandishing.
Yeah, brandishing the knife. So I said, all right, I know I'm faster than this guy. I'm captain of my wrestling team. Yeah. If this gets to the ground, I got him, but he's got a knife. I have to get the knife off him. He's not a weak guy. He's still a kind of big. I'm 190. He might have been 175 pounds, something like that. So, he's not a skinny, wimpy guy. It would require somebody. I said I could take care of this, but let's say I do kick his ass. There's still 4 months left of school. Yeah. Okay? He could be waiting around any corner just to get revenge. Yeah. Revenge is worse than the first time out.
Sure.
Okay? And then I said, so that's if I kick his ass. Also, if I do kick his ass, I could get cut in the act. And by then, I had already been accepted at Harvard, planning to major in physics, knowing I want to get a PhD in astrophysics, knowing that my career, I'd already had I was already planned. I knew what I wanted to do with my life. So I said, is the risk of dying, however small that is, or the risk of getting maimed permanently or partial or temporarily, is my ego in this moment worth that? Right. And I said, no, it's not. So I said, I'm sorry. But not in a timid way. I just straight. I said, I'm sorry I hit your leather jacket. Yeah. What I wanted to say was, but you got to admit it was a good throw. No, but I didn't want. So I said, sorry, I hit your leather jacket. I'll make sure that doesn't happen again.
And that was it.
And what is he going to? What do you, if he was ready? I felt like Gandhi in this moment, right? He's got weapons, and I don't come at him with a weapon. If you have a weapon, you are expecting weaponry.
Yes. Yeah.
Right. It's a mental thing at this point. Yeah. So that's what I did, and then I just walked past. He was all right. He grumbly, all right, and then he folded back up the knife. And now I knew he wouldn't be waiting behind any corner.
I'm smart,
right. And I'm off to college. No, who the hell knows where he is now?
Yeah, you made the right move because that one dumb thing and you went on to be who you are, and you're promoting another book. And I'll mention the name of the book, Astrophysics: People in a Hurry. And
that was not a good segue to the book.
It was terrible. Here's why I did this segue.
Who taught you segues in this business?
He told me we don't have much time, so I wanted to make sure that your plug did get in there.
Okay,
the book is great.
Thank you.
I had another question for you before we even talked about physics.
What's this green thing you're drinking here?
It's juice, but I'm trying to
This is not juice. I don't know what that is.
It's a juice-like substance. I should correct myself. So, did you have a lot of a racial strife growing up? Did you have to deal with any racism, or did you kind of get lucky and not have to deal with it?
So no, there's nothing compared to my parents' generation. Right. I mean, that's all you have to do is wonder how bad it is. Just ask someone one generation before you. Yeah. They'll have stories that will completely override anything you're telling them. Just that's how that is.
Right.
Same with women. If you say, "Oh, it's terrible for women," to ask any woman a generation ago what they put up with, what they had to put up with, what society didn't recognize or accept. So at the time, yeah, there was racism, but I was so focused that it was like I didn't care. Because you could, if you cared about every racist moment, you'd be dead. Okay? So you don't. If you have enough drive. I had a fuel tank I care about this universe. I've known it since I was 9. My first visit to the Hayden Planetarium here, I said, I want to be an astrophysicist. I was called by the universe. And I said, I'm coming, universe. Give me a few years. And so in what ways does it manifest? Taxi doesn't pick you up. And it stops for the white person farther down than you, and I'm not small, so don't tell me you didn't notice me, right? And so there's little things like that. Most of these, so back then you'd go to a record store to buy records or CDs. There would always be a security guard following behind me, acting like they're browsing through the thing. And I would go change lanes, and they come change aisles, and so you can track them. So it's the bad part is you have this awareness that society thinks you're a criminal. And I'd walking on the street and people would cross the street to go to the other side, this sort of thing. And that's just a weird way to grow up. Right. It's like your own culture doesn't see you for what you are. They see you for what they fear. And so I said to myself, provided they are not between me and my goal, will just walk around it, climb over it, dig under it. But I'm going to get to the other side with or without them.
Right, okay.
Yeah. Yes. In one case, I was into big, oversized wristwatches back before digital watches. They had tachometers, time in multiple cities. I was just into timekeeping. By the way, my people invented timekeeping devices, astronomers of yesteryear.
They did?
Yes. We cared about tracking time, okay? So maybe it's deep in me. I was feeling the love through history. So I had this big, and one that I bought from Macy's, this sweep secondhand, no one even knows what that is anymore. The thing that tracks the seconds.
Sure.
The sweep secondhand fell off inside the crystal of the watch. So I took it to a jeweler, and so I'd like this repaired. And the jeweler said, after a pause, and looked at me, and the jeweler said, I can't touch this. It's a stolen watch. And here I am thinking, wow, I wonder, how did Macy's steal this watch? I'm like, that's how naive I was, because I'm just me. Yeah, right? Why would I think that this whole world thinks I'm a criminal? Yeah. But he's asserting that it's stolen because I am handing them this watch that he judges doesn't belong with me as a 14-year-old black kid growing up in the Bronx. And so it must have been stolen, was his conclusion. And I'm thinking, did Macy's know this was stolen? Yeah, a very naive thought at the time. But that kind of thing would happen, but they're not between me and my academic goals. And so I just kept pushing. That's all.
It's interesting. I've never asked you that before.
Yeah, and plus I never was in a fight. Yeah. I could walk away from a fight. It was I just didn't care. I don't have any, my ego is not there. By the way, here's a good segue, right? In the last chapter of the book, called A Cosmic Perspective, learning about the universe is the surest, most systematic way to dismantle your ego. Because you learn how small you are.
Right.
We are. How small Earth is in the universe. How insignificant our presence is in time and in space. And this can actually be liberating, because then you realize how much baggage you were carrying thinking you were special. And then you realize how much DNA we all have in common, not only with one another, but with all life on Earth. Because you can have a cosmic perspective not only from the universe, but from other sciences as well. Biological cosmic perspective. So, for example, in your lower gut, in 1 centimeter of your lower gut, lives and works more microbes, more bacteria than the total number of humans who have ever been born. In your lower gut, 1 centimeter of your lower gut. So you can say, well, I'm greater than the bacteria because I'm human and they're just bacteria. However, if you upset the bacteria, they're in charge, okay? They'll tell you how often they're going to send you to the bathroom, okay? Is it every 7 minutes? Is that your preference, or every 12? So then you realize that to them, you are a darkened anaerobic vessel of fecal matter. That whatever
I'm like that to most people too.
So, and then you realize, okay, however important I think I am, I'm just this vessel to the bacteria. But in fact, we need each other. They digest your food for you.
That's right.
You are a vessel in which they thrive. So you're not greater or lesser than they are. We are participants in the same biological entity. That's a cosmic perspective. So we are important and we are special not because we're different, but because we're the same. And that's a message here. So maybe that was operating deeply within me because I just did not feel I had to fight anybody to defend my honor, my manhood, my even playing basketball. Somebody elbows you. It's not, why'd you elbow me? It's like, okay, sorry. And then I keep playing. It's not, I just didn't care. Plus, I know you know. Tell me your name. I didn't get
Matt.
Matt. I finally.
That's
Matt,
okay.
Matt.
Give me some.
There,
Yeah.
give
Look
me
at
some
those
hand
mitts
love
on
there.
you. Look at that. Look at the size of that hand. Who's that?
right
Brock
here.
Lesnar?
What?
Let me see this. Look at that hand.
Yeah.
It's a whole other. What is that? Knuckle.
Yeah.
Fucking, I don't know. It's huge.
Yeah. So
Paws
yeah,
on you. Good thing you got no temper.
3XL hand. I can't get gloves. Get them
amazing.
custom made.
I have a specific
Why to go to
space
like
question.
the big and tall hand shop or something?
You'd be great at Kimoras, by the way.
What's a Kimura? What's that?
What's a Kimura? I'm gonna listen. I don't know. Listen, as far as with the space, besides some Star Wars questions, I'm the worst guy to even interview you. But Kimoras, Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu,
Oh.
you would be phenomenal because you are a former grappler.
Yeah.
Once it's in you being a
Listen,
grappler.
once here's the thing. As a wrestler, the funny thing is, sometimes I forget that I spent most of my life with my hands on the bodies of other men, so that I meet someone new or something. my hands are on them and I'm
it's
touching
all right.
them, and they sometimes they just get a little. It's not.
You know, it's funny. You're a phys. I never even made that connection. You just said that's right. Because you're a
I'm a
tactile-
touchy.
but it's okay. You're tactile. It's not uncomfortable. You know
Tactile. I like that. I'm tactile.
You know who's like that? Bernard Hopkins. I've interviewed Bernard a bunch of times, and Bernard will sit like literally 1 inch from me, and he touches. But
He's
it's
in your space.
But it's not an alpha. It's not uncomfortable.
Yeah.
It doesn't feel menacing. It's just you could tell that's his comfortable way of communicating.
Yeah.
I have a very specific question before I forget. I know I'm
What's
going to
that?
forget it. We've talked a lot, you and I, about time traveling faster than the speed of light.
Where's the segue to that?
There's none.
You're just a non-segue guy.
I really am. That was my nickname in high school.
Non-segue.
Yes, well, it was lack of erections, but I said segues. So it was traveling. At the
I saw
speed-
his potty mouth Netflix special.
Oh, did you see it?
Oh man!
And you still
as
came
potty
here
mouth
knowing-
as it is. Yeah, I said,
I'm dirty.
should I really go to his show after
That's
this?
good. So you're not surprised by
But you
anything.
knew me before that, so you know that I'm a sweet boy.
Yeah, he was sweet until I saw his Netflix special.
Yeah, now you know a lot more about me. Traveling the speed of light is fastest speed in the universe.
Yes, correct.
We can never achieve the speed of light.
Not
but,
with material. Light can go the speed of light,
Right.
but not material objects. Right.
But when expanding during the Big Bang, the universe did travel faster than the speed of light.
Yeah, it
when
expanded
expanding.
faster than- yeah.
So how is that possible? And is
It's a great question. That means you're paying attention to the book.
It was amazing, and I also had a big issue with the Big Bang. I don't necessarily believe it, but I wanted to know about.
Wait. So did you see the opening quote?
The
universe is under no obligation to make sense
Makes sense to you, yes, and you're right.
So the fact that you go through and say, I don't believe this, the universe really doesn't care.
No, fair enough. But I mean, like, say we were expanding into something that is the same material that our known universe is. How was it able to expand faster than the speed of light?
Because nothing in our space is moving through that space faster than light. The fabric of the space itself is expanding, and there's no law of physics that prevents that.
There's not. Okay, so
Yeah.
there's no law, but there's no
That's
way.
how we can have galaxies in the distant future universe when dark energy overruns everything and it accelerates our expansion. You can take galaxies and accelerate them beyond our horizon out of view. So all the galaxies of the night sky will ultimately be no longer visible to any of us. And that's the source of all of our cosmology. So if we don't have good records that survive into post-apocalyptic civilizations, they will have no idea that the universe ever even had a past.
Really?
And they'll try to theorize what is going on in the universe, but they will not get the right answer because their repository of data will be incomplete. So, hopelessly incomplete. And I lose sleep over the possibility that everything we're doing in this universe, trying to piece it together like this jigsaw puzzle, where we don't even have what the thing should look like, right? We're just seeing that the pieces fit and how they fit. I lay awake at night wondering whether we suffer from the same challenge. Is there some chapter of our today's book of cosmology that has been ripped from us that only a prior generation would know anything about? But there are no records passed on to us. And here we are trying to figure out the universe, but in fact, without that chapter, it might damn well be impossible.
When the universe is expanding.
Oh, there's almonds over there. Can I get some almonds?
Sure can, sir. When the universe is expanding.
Yeah.
So, we look around, we see stars everywhere, we see galaxies everywhere. Let's just say, for the sake of argument, you're in one of the earlier developments of a planet, and you're in the forefront of the expansion, and you're constantly expanding, and you're on the edge of the expansion. So how come you're not able to look back this way and see the universe, and then look ahead and just see pitch black because nothing has expanded that far?
Oh, because everyone thinks they're in the center of the expansion.
But say you're on the edge of it.
Well, so if you're on the edge,
how come you can't?
Watch, ready? Watch. So here I am. I'm a ship at sea. Okay. Now I see a ship on my horizon at the edge. Go to that ship. They have another horizon beyond them. Everybody has a horizon, even if you're on the edge of somebody else's horizon.
But so
they're on your edge, but they're not on their own edge.
But if you're on the edge of the universe's expansion,
no, it's expanding in a higher dimension than that. So there is no edge.
There's not.
Is there an edge of Earth's surface?
No.
You know to not even ask that question.
There's not.
You're not a flat earther, are you, Jimmy?
I'm not.
Jimmy,
No.
the latest craze. That has to be something new, right?
I heard an interesting solution to the flat Earth problem.
What's
ready?
that?
Someone said maybe Earth is flat,
Okay.
but just on 6 sides, and it's actually a cube.
Oh, there you go.
So it's kind of like a sphere because it's you can go all around it. There's a bottom, a side, right? There's Australia, right? But in any given side, it's actually flat. And I thought, wow, that's an interesting way to reconcile.
No, I just had a space question before, but you answered it.
You compete? What do you?
No. Listen, I own a couple of jiu-jitsu schools.
Cool.
I won
You're a
the
jiu-jitsu guy.
Yeah.
So you know Sam Harris does jiu-jitsu. He's a very famous atheist guy, public intellectual. Look him up, Sam Harris.
I sure will.
Mm-hmm.
No, and now I still stay in shape. I stay in shape. Well, rounds of shape, but I do.
Yeah. What shape is the shape you're staying in? That was good. That was good.
Thank you, Neil.
Are you a pear-shaped oblate spheroid?
I was going to say you should try Brazilian jiu-jitsu. I mean, listen, you're busy looking up, different galaxies.
Let me tell you what happened. After I settled into New York, after I'd got my PhD and everything, I said, let me find out if there's any local wrestling clubs, right? So I went up to Columbia, rolled around with them a couple of times, and then I found out, oh my gosh, now it takes me like 5 days to recover.
Yeah.
When I used to bounce back the next day.
The wrestling's a lot harder as far as on your body than Brazilian jiu-jitsu. I mean, you could put a kimono on, which is basically a jacket, learn different ways to strangle people. I know it sounds crazy, but I know.
He likes strangling people.
I need more ways in my portfolio.
But the thing about Brazilian jiu-jitsu,
to strangle.
it's not as explosive, and you don't have to use as much strength. It's based on leverage and technique and timing, and it's really scientific. I mean, you would love it. And instead of like the wrestling, the goal is to have somebody pinned on their back, shoulders pinned on the back. I mean, it just gets started. You learn different ways how to maneuver your opponent and reverse him, submit him from all being on your back, based all on leverage and technique.
In a submission? Is that how that works?
Oh yes, you win in a submission, or if you're not getting a submission, you're getting a dominating position, which is best for a real scenario, a real fight.
Okay.
Mount position, back with the hooks in, controlling
so they
somebody.
Can't do anything. They can't.
Controlling somebody, and it's just such a again, it's such a beautiful art. And being a brain and being a guy your size, you would probably really love it.
So can I tell you an incident? So I was in, I gave a series of talks these last couple of weeks, book talks mostly.
Yeah.
And during the Q&A in one of the sessions, there was somebody who charged the stage, okay? And so the security came out, and
Crazy
a
flat
slender
earther?
guy. Yeah, no. So he was sure he knew the answer to the universe. Ask me how the universe works. I know. So that's the kind of crazies you get in an astrophysics lecture.
There you go.
But anyhow, so security came, and they blocked him, and then they tried to move him back up the center aisle. But then his limbs started going. Okay.
Yeah.
And so then they took it to the ground, and I was hoping they wouldn't start pummeling him because that just looks bad. You just want to. So you want to be able to take out of action what their arms and legs are doing, right? And wrestling, you kind of want to do that, right? So that way you can't grab me if I do something with your arm that prevents it. Okay, but they were not succeeding. So they got backup to come, and then they finally get him back on his feet, but he's still kicking and screaming. So then so I'm kind of narrating this to the people in the upper deck so they can't see it. Finally, they pick him up, and then they take him out, and they say, that always works. Once you remove the person's point of contact with Earth, then you have full control over their body. They have no frictional points where they can actually execute anything, and you just pick them up and just walk them out, no matter what their limbs are doing. And so I narrated the removal. From
what was
the
his? You don't know what his point was, or what he was doing?
No, he wanted to give his theory of the universe.
It probably wouldn't have
out
been
of order with the questions that were being received.
Do you watch mixed martial arts? Do you watch the UFC?
So I don't target it in the day, but if I'm channel surfing and it's there,
watch it.
Oh yeah, I like watch because the guys are quick.
Yeah,
especially those kicks, where you can take someone out. It's like, oh my gosh, because you have to land it in the right place, in the right time, at the right height. Particularly if it's a blind kick, because if you're turning,
yes,
yeah,
well, you can see the art in it.
Yeah, oh yeah, and then
do you have good equilibrium? I get very dizzy very fast. You do.
Well, so I used to dance. I was a performing member of 3 different dance companies.
What doesn't this guy do?
No.
So let me back up. So one of my challenges as a wrestler was I was very flexible.
Yeah.
More flexible than most wrestlers. I was flexible as a dancer is flexible. I could do a full split.
Nice.
This sort of thing. And so what it meant was if you're trying to fold somebody up in a hold and they're not well stretched, there's a limit to how much you can fold them because their body's just not going to bend that way.
Yeah.
If I want to prevent myself from being folded into a tiny little cube, then I have to use muscles against your force to fold me. Because my body can move that way, that far. Did I make myself clear?
Yes.
On that? I have to use muscles to prevent you from folding me as much as my body can fold, because I can stretch into that position. So I had to make sure I was not in that situation. But what it also meant was if you sweep my leg and lift it up, at the height that someone else is normally off balance, my leg is essentially detached from my body. In dancing, there's a lot of training of body part isolation where you move a shoulder, you lift your leg, where the rest of your body does not budge. If you move a limb and the rest of your body moves, no, that's not dancing. That's that's torquing your torso with the body. So let me just demo that. I know this is like audio, but I just for you guys.
We have it.
You're not going to twerk for us,
please,
are you?
I want to see Neil deGrasse Tyson dance.
No, so you're here, and so this.
He's got at least kicking out his leg and behind him.
All this has to be here, and the torso can't move. Okay.
You should be a martial artist.
I'm just jiggling my leg.
Yeah.
Back.
Yeah, but you have great balance.
And so, and that's
leg back and forth, and he's balancing on one leg.
Yeah, that's
And
all.
Look at
And so
this.
Wow.
I go forward to the side.
It actually looks like something out of a kata.
Yeah,
And a
he's
Karate
what
Kid.
amazing balance.
Yeah, so yes, I had balance. So guys would try to sweep my leg and presume, I think generally accurately, that it would take another person off balance.
Yeah.
And my leg would just move.
Balance is so much.
And they
so
could not
important.
take
And the
my torso
flexibility.
off balance.
Yeah.
Because the leg was just swirling around.
What kind of dancing was it?
So
that
it made wrestling. I had to invent new ways to compete as a wrestler.
What kind of dance? I'm not a good dancer. I mean, people look at me, they think I'm limber. Of course.
I love his laugh.
That's the first thing I think of. Yeah. Jim, yeah, this guy belongs on a ballet stage. Yeah.
What kind was it? Ballet?
So
Lynn Swan took ballet from the Pittsburgh
I
Steelers.
remember in the
Dexterity.
day.
Yeah.
You're not that old.
I'm 48. I'll be 49 in July.
Is that right? Oh, you look like a kid.
Thank you.
Oh, let me pinch your cheek. Oh, that's
Oh,
good.
come on.
Look at
Oh,
that.
you
You too.
Oh my gosh.
So, yeah, what
I
kind
remember.
was-
Yeah, who was?
ballet?
And plus, it wasn't just that. Who's the guy with the folks in the Midwest? The famous football team from the small town.
the Hoosiers?
Packers. The Green Bay
Green Bay,
Packers. Their coach was it Vince Lombardi, right?
Yep.
So wasn't he the one that had them do the ballet steps?
Oh, I don't know. It might have been.
Yeah. One of them introduced sort of ballet step movement, and then it became kind of standard.
That was your dancing was ballet?
Oh, so I had basic ballet training for sort of a general performing sort of stage Broadway dance type troupe. There was another troupe, so we did performance dance like to Broadway tunes, that sort of thing. Another one was International Latin Ballroom,
Oh, wow.
and then a third one was Afro-Caribbean.
What's Afro-Caribbean?
So if you just look at any picture of native Africans dancing, there's a lot of sort of torso.
Right.
Most of the music is percussion, and there's a lot of sort of collapse of your torso and shake. I mean, that would have been where the first twerking could have ever come.
You probably broke that out at the clubs back in the day, no? Yes?
No. So I was like disco man in the 70s.
You are?
That was the age and the time.
Did you ever go to Studio 54?
No, because I was away at college when Studio 54 hit its
Yeah.
biggest point. It was the late 70s, that would have been. And then I went to graduate school after that. So, and then my whole life shifts at
Sure.
that point. But it's not in this, but it's in my memoir. There's a point where I was like strapped for money in graduate school. They weren't paying you much, and I needed money. And my fellow dancers, the male dancers, said, "Hey, we make extra money down at the strip club.
Get out of
The
here.
women's, the ladies,
Sure.
ladies, like, and
Tell me you did that.
No. Hold on. So, can I finish the story, please?
I got to hear this.
So I said, wow, it's because they'll put money in your thing. And
Yeah.
I was like I said, I was limber. I was cut, low
Sure.
body fat. I was like,
this.
that was the time.
Yeah.
Okay. If ever there was a time I would do that, that was the time.
Sure.
So I'm down there and I said, I'll check it out. And so some of my fellow dancers from the company that I danced with came out. All they were wearing was an asbestos lined jockstrap that had been soaked in lighter fluid and ignited. And they came out
That's scary.
dancing to Jerry Lee Lewis's Great Balls of Fire.
Wow.
In that moment, I
see that.
I'm embarrassed to say that in that moment was the first time I said, maybe I should tutor math.
That's funny.
And so I said, no. So then I tutored math, made a little less per hour, but it was like respectable work.
Yeah, but the perks with the math tutoring was not as good as they would have been at the other job.
Yeah.
We'd have had a great time.
So that was the slow sort of evaporation of the body that I had then, and then I just became the academic that I am now. People say, "Oh, why don't you go to Dances with Stars or do like you said, do some Brazilian?"
oh.
Well, here's my thing. When I was wrestling, nobody was asking me to give a public talk. No one was asking me to be interviewed on anybody's show. That's a chapter of my life that is past, and I'm now doing other things that I could not have done then because I didn't know enough, nor was I wise enough. So I don't look back in my life at stuff when I was in my prime in various things. Let that sit as my prime when I was priming for what it was that I was in my prime. Now I'm priming in other dimensions of what it is to be alive.
Yeah, but you're top of the field at what you do now. Like there's almost nobody in the field. Right? Michio Kaku is very well known, but you're the kind of go-to guy for this. Like everybody is like, this is the man who can explain complicated things in a very simple way, which is not easy to do because really smart people, like Bobby Fischer could not explain chess to somebody.
Yeah, it's not. Yeah,
It just
he
wouldn't
tried. He
work.
had a book,
Oh, I know.
Chess.
I
He
love
wrote a few
him, but just
chess books. Yeah,
yeah, a bit of it.
Then he took a left turn. So
Yeah.
to the left.
Ah, the Jews! Hey, all right, Bobby. Bobby, what do I do with the bishop? Ah, Hitler! Oh boy, Bobby. What the fuck?
Wait. Hey, Bobby, what's your religion? Oh, I am Jewish. Yeah. That was
100%.
Right. Yeah. Weird. That came out of something happened there. Yeah.
When you're that smart, sometimes I think mental illness can be tied in with someone who's that brilliant, and like the thing that makes you great can kill you, and I think that's what happened.
Yeah. So I'm trying to not have that happen to me.
Did you ever?
I'm cool with the Jews.
Did you ever do any kind of like partying or anything? Like, did you ever?
Of
did you
course,
ever do
no,
drugs or drink, or did you ever like?
Oh no, I was pretty clean in that regard. But not because I had some high and mighty cleanliness.
Right.
No, it's not. That wasn't the motivation. It was, I so enjoy what I'm doing, studying, wrestling, and now you want me to do what? You want me now? Realize how sensitive we are physiologically to exterior influence. So here's your brain, which, granted, barely functions in real life. Just what does it take to not function, right? Just look at mental hospitals, look at prisons, look at, this. So now you want to add chemicals to your brain to purposefully disrupt what is otherwise pure rational thought. And I said, I can't wrap my head around that. No, I'm not. Now, so one time in 8th grade, I drank Boone's Farm apple wine before I went to a party with the sole purpose of just getting shit-faced. And then after I said, why did I do that?
Did you get sick?
No, but I was definitely not fully rational. And I did not value that state of mind. I've known since I was 9, I wanted to be a scientist. And it's not like, okay, I want to contemplate the universe now and decode the secrets of nature. Let's see how high I can get before I do this math. Yeah. It's just not. So I never did. I just never did. Now, I like a good bottle of wine. Who doesn't like with a nice meal? Yeah. But it's not just to get shit-faced. That's all I'm saying.
You should go to a UFC fight. I think you would enjoy it. But I really do. I think you would like it. I think you would enjoy it. I think you would enjoy watching it.
And as far as the jiu-jitsu, I wasn't telling you to go into the Pan Ams or anything. I was just going to say for a workout.
I love the Pan Ams. They don't get the attention they should get. Yeah. Just as a sport, as an event, and as a culture. It's North and South America. How often do we get together as a collective Western Hemisphere thing?
It's a good time. I mean, jiu-jitsu. I mean, again.
So how many fighting events are in the Pan Am Games?
Well, I specifically, I was just talking about the Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu Pan American Games, which I won in 1999. But that's not the point. Excellent. Talk about a segue, Neil.
Yes. Is it a trophy, a medal?
I got a gold medal as a purple belt. I was so happy. I beat all the Brazil. You beat the Brazil.
Where was it? But was it in Brazil?
It was in Miami, actually.
Oh, okay.
You know why? I remember
in Brazil, that would have been a little harder.
I won in
Brazil. There would have been guys waiting for you at the exit.
I definitely don't want to be that guy. But I won the next year as a brown belt in Brazil in the World Championship.
You did.
But it doesn't all come back to me.
Wait. Why? I want to hear. So why does the belt matter if you win or don't win?
That wasn't a belt. No, I had a belt. That was in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. I won.
Oh, you compete at belt levels?
Well, yes, in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, yes. In mixed martial arts, no.
No, it's whatever totally you got, different. Pull it out of you.
Mixed martial arts, yeah. I won that UFC championship too, but that's a whole different. That's another podcast. Well, nobody wants to hear about me.
Look here, I love UFC. I don't have to come here to talk about astrophysics.
Yeah. Listen, I'm very impressed with the fact that you were quite the wrestler, and I would love one day. Listen, I know you're busy.
You want to roll around one day?
Well, I would love to show you some jiu-jitsu. I'm not picking a fight, Neil. You're a big guy. You're a big guy, and I got a reputation. I don't need to get strangled by you. All right. But I would love to show you some things, just the art of it, and you'd be like, oh, I see how this works. I don't have to use a lot of strength. It's all leverage technique and the cosmos.
If he gets me started and I go home and do some calculations,
he would love it.
Come back.
Oh, he'll come back and show me how to get the arm lock better.
Bring it on.
It'd be. Hey, listen. It's great for the body and mind.
Did you stay without injury? How were you on that?
I'm pretty good. Mm-hmm. I mean,
knees and
I never had a major surgery besides something that. I had some kind of. I had something called. I'm going to mess up the word for it. Thoracic outlet syndrome or something, where I had my artery was getting pushed together by my first rib and my collarbone. Would had to remove my first rib out up here. Actually,
did they make
that has nothing to do with my work, my training.
Did they make a woman out of that rib?
No.
That would have been so biblical.
And it didn't give me any perks as far as what I heard. What happened with Marilyn Manson.
I made a couple out of warm liver, but
where are we going with this? I'm just happy Neil's here. This is fascinating.
I've warned your listeners in case they haven't seen your Netflix special.
Oh, they know I'm awful.
If they want to retain their high level of respect for you.
I don't think their level of respect is very high, to be honest. We have to wrap up with you.
Oh my God.
That's coming from Neil's people?
We got to go.
Oh, no, I got to think. Yeah, okay.
That's not coming from us. Mm-hmm. I love you. One of my favorite people. The book is
great
really,
you do this in the comedy club here. I mean, in the space
right above, yeah.
Yeah, it's great.
Your book is great. It's called Astrophysics for People in a Hurry. It really is a fascinating, and this is the most we've talked about.
Can I boast? You slipped in a boast? I got one here. Ready?
Sure.
Yeah, okay, because I didn't get to say this often.
I slipped in several.
Yeah.
Okay. Yesterday, the book debuted at #1 on the New York Times bestseller list.
Congratulations.
Hey, I mean, what? Number one?
Number one. Debut.
Oh, yes. Oh, man. Oh, rightfully
great.
so.
Yeah, and it's my first time that's happened to me. And so
amazing.
I would say this even if I didn't write it. For me, holy shit. There's a science book at number one.
Right.
On the nonfiction bestsellers. Ahead of the celebrity tell-alls, the political books. So there's a real appetite out there that I'm delighted to be a servant of. So...
Are you doing any book signings? Or have you done the ones already?
Yeah, I mean, I did these cities, and now I'm just tired. I just want to go to sleep.
Okay, well, the book will speak for itself. What I've read of it, it's great.
Yeah.
It's really easy to read, and it just talks about the Big Bang and all this fascinating stuff. And you're just an interesting guy. This was fun. Thank you for coming.
a lot of fun.
Thanks.
Always
Thanks.
Yeah, Neil.
And we'll find you. You know, you invite me back. We'll, you know.
Yes.
Anytime.
I don't know if I can still rock a singlet, but
No, I'm going to get you a kimono on me. My
the kimono
treat.
covers the belly.
Oh, no, that's good. I love that. I don't train without that thing. Let's get a picture before you get
Yeah,
out.
we'll
that.
take a quick break, and we'll be right back. Thank you. Neil
Yeah,
deGrasse
thanks for having
Tyson.
me on
Thank
the
you,
show.
Neil.
You're listening to UFC Unfiltered with Jim Norton and Matt Serra.
Now we are back. We took a quick break. We said we were going to take a quick break because we were getting the wrap up because Neil deGrasse Tyson had other places to go. By the way, very, very great interview with him because we talked about a lot of things. Normally it's just astrophysics, which is fine.
Yeah.
But he wanted to talk about growing up and who knew he was almost a stripper, that racial incident. Like, it's so interesting. But here's what's really interesting. After it's over,
That was great.
Neil deGrasse Tyson and Matt Serra, I want to say, was it for 7 or 8 minutes?
Oh, easily, yeah.
Rolled around on the floor and showed each other wrestling and jujitsu moves.
How great was that?
By the time you're hearing this, the link has probably been sent out. We have a 5-minute video of Matt showing Neil
So
deGrasse
much fun.
Tyson a Kimura. And Matt, by the way, and Neil was showing Matt something, because Neil's a competitive guy.
Oh, beautiful pinning techniques he was showing me.
He does, right?
Oh, it was great. It was great. No, he would. That's why when I was telling him about Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, he's obviously he's a very smart's an understatement. Isn't he one of the smartest guys on the planet?
Yeah,
he's up there, right?
Yeah.
So I mean, with that brain and being a natural grappler. I mean, look at what he was showing us with his balance and talking about him back in the day. It's in him. He would be amazing in jiu-jitsu. I could tell you right now. The way he was just, and then when we were going over, like I was showing him the Kimura after he was showing me a couple of his pinning techniques, he was loving it. You could see because when he was going to manipulate the balance, well, like I feel like I could just I'll do this, and then he sees the leverage and the technique. I felt he was digging it. No,
he was absolutely.
And then he wanted to show me something. Oh, it was great.
Well, it started with Neil going to Matt. I just want to show you something before I go. And he was showing Matt a move.
Yeah, so it's not like I tried to be like, let me.
No, it was Neil.
I want to force a Kimura on you.
I'll tell you exactly what that was.
That's
Neil
great.
deGrasse Tyson is such a respected scientist and legitimate and deserved. But he doesn't get that part of him, like that physically competitive part of him. He probably doesn't get to express that often because, again, he's always doing these intellectual interviews. And here you, a former champion, you can enjoy that with him and not feel like he's being a...
Yeah, no, and it was also nice that because you explained it, you're a great teacher, so he appreciates that too. You could tell.
This is what's so great about Matt, because I know Neil deGrasse Tyson and I know Matt, and Matt's a killer. I mean, Neil's a great wrestler. Matt's a killer. So watching them, I'm like, oh, Neil, don't try to. Oh no,
he's fun.
But Matt is such a good teacher. He was showing him a Kimura. You put one on him, and then you were teaching him how to put one on you. But very encouraging. Yeah, and really, there's no ego with Matt when he shows.
No, I had him choke me, which I'll tell you a couple other seconds. I don't know if he knows the tap is the. I should have let him know Jimmy's like, oh, when he taps, you gotta let go. He was loving the rear naked choke.
Well, Matt was showing it on me. Like he had me sit in the thing, and he was I was the guinea pig, which was okay. And Matt showed one that was very effective. But he put a tight one on you, right?
Oh, it was beautiful. And with his height, he could just put someone to sleep with very little effort. Just go right up behind him, and it's like a V. I was just explaining how. It stops like the blood flow. It doesn't cut off the air. It's not going on the windpipe. That's how police officers and when they do the wrong. I know they're not allowed to choke people and strangle people, but the problem is they don't know how to properly do it. I believe that they should be allowed to choke somebody, but it should be done. They should every police officer or anybody in law enforcement should be at least a blue belt in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. It should be a requirement, and that way they could do it. But it's the gentle art. Your guy falls right to sleep. But the problem is people end up fighting for their life, and then they just put on something that they've seen on TV or they don't have it quite right. Am I getting off the topic?
No, you're talking about.
But Neil, he saw the technique in it. And
Sure.
that's what I wanted to show him. And what a fun! That was fun.
I've never asked him about any of that stuff. I've talked to him a bunch. We never talked about
That's very interesting.
him almost being a stripper, him getting a knife pulled on him. Just to hear him talking about race, because I've never heard him discuss it.
Yeah.
Was fascinating. His views on racism. Really interesting guy, man. He's great.
Can I tell you when I heard he was coming in, I always liked. I seen him on Joe Rogan before, and I seen him on some stuff, and he does make it like he makes it interesting, and he makes actually like stuff that could be maybe boring for some people fun. You know, with everything with the galaxy and galaxies and everything we're talking about.
Galaxies, Matt.
Yes. Well,
There's
this
100 billion
galaxy
of
I'm
them.
talking about. I don't know what the fuck I'm talking about. But anyway, I thought I'd be just way out of the conversation, but that was very fun. I enjoyed having him in here.
Yeah, I did have that one space question though, and he answered it.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
But I was curious.
That was the exact one I was going to ask him.
I know. No. You should ask him to explain the Big Bang. You would have ran.
I'd rather explain Kimuras
I understand.
and him show me his cradles.
That was fun to watch.
That
We
guy
have
can
5
still
minutes of
handle
video.
himself. I can't wait to see some of that.
I can't wait to send some of this out.
Yeah.
But I'm going to.
And he was catching on quick because I put it on him, but I did not use you to show him how to set up that Kimura.
No,
You know?
we're going to.
So it takes a little bit. And I showed him a variation of a Kimura that I really been killing with lately, like when I'm on side control. People will say, and I invite the guy up, and then I do basically a sit through. I call it a sit through Kimura. I sit through and I find the arm right there. And what happens is it takes the other arm out of the equation. So I have my two arms to your one, and it's easy to get behind the back. And I think he was digging it. I really do. I think he was enjoying it because he felt it. You know.
I think that's a great picture to tweet.
Fucking, look at that! Oh. The best, he's got me face down. He's on top of me. He got both my wrists. Like, hey, by the way, Neil, nice to meet you. I met him literally 20 minutes ago. But we were hugging when it was over. That was
great.
fun.
That was
fun,
one of
dude.
my favorite, probably my favorite interview I've ever done with him. And I guess, listen, man, that was a great one. I'm seeing you, a couple days, and then I go to Europe.
Wow.
So I'm going to send this video by the time you're hearing this.
Yes.
The video, I'm sure, is up somewhere.
Yeah.
We're actually going to ask Dana to retweet this, folks. I think it's really funny, and I think
Yeah.
Neil will.
I think that was a good time.
I was so great. We should send yours too, right?
Yeah, I was on a different angle, but yeah, we got.
Maybe we can combine the two. Is there
Sure.
anybody at UFC that could combine the two?
Yeah, I'm gonna send it to everybody. They're gonna have it. Yeah.
What a good time, man.
Yeah, because I'm Matt's funny line. Nice to meet you, Neil. Was very funny. Do I have that here?
Oh, I forgot you were taping. Oh, no, that's funny.
All right,
Yeah, man. All right.
I'm gonna
What, you
send
got it on there?
I'm pretty sure I do. I just
Well,
don't know
send
where
me
it
that
is.
too, because people are going to want to.